Right. So today we are going to discuss about the paper, second term diagnostic test 2022, appreciation of English literary texts, grade 11, Ibagamu zone, right? So today we are going to discuss a new paper. So we are going to start with all the context questions and we will discuss all the target questions or else essay type questions, how to answer the questions, what kind of knowledge that you have to have. And we will not discuss the answers. At the same time, we will discuss all the important points as well, right? So when we go through certain poems, certain short stories, I will explain you what are the important points. So please make sure to write down the points as well. The second thing is that make sure to write down the answers once I send you the paper, right? So today I sent you the paper. So next week you can get ready with your answers and you can send me the PDF. I can go through the PDF and I can give you a comment on that. So you can go through your work like that. So make sure to write answers. When you write, you will definitely develop. When it comes to literature, it is all about writing. So make sure to write answers and make sure to send your answers to me. And definitely I will go through and I will give you a comment on that. Make sure to convert it to a PDF and make sure to send that to my WhatsApp number. I will definitely go through that. So when you write more, definitely you will develop. So the only method that you can improve your writing skills, not only for English literature, but in your advanced level classes, you may do English literature or else general English as a subject. So you may have to write a lot of letters, essays, paragraphs. So when it comes to writing, make sure to write. When you write, you will definitely develop. That is what happens. Right, okay, so we will start the session. Right, we are going to start with the first question actually. We are going to start with poetry. As you know, in the new structure of the paper, basically we have 4 questions now. Previously, in previous papers, we only had 3 questions, 3 context questions, but here now we have 4 questions. So you have to go through with the new format, right? So the format has been changed. Now, previously they had only 3 questions. Now they have 4 questions. So it is very important to go through with the new section, right? One section is actually added to your English literature paper, right? That is, basically we have 4 context questions, right? Okay, so this is the question that they have given to you. All the times that I have tried keeping all the things I knew inside, it's hard, but it's harder to ignore it, right? A very popular poem. Actually, it is actually a song. If you have seen the movie called Guardians of the Galaxy, this song is there as a background song. So very popular song actually. And it is actually included as a poem to your syllabus. Name the work in which these lines appear. Name the writer. Who is I? What is referred to as it? Comment on the lyrical effect of these lines. So these are the questions that they have asked and you are going to write answers. So let's see what are the answers that we have written and check whether if you have completed, you can check whether your answers are correct, right? Let's go to the discussion. Right, these are the answers that we have selected. Number 1, this is actually from Father and Son by Cat Stevens. So Cat Stevens is known to be a very popular songwriter and lyricist. And at the same time, he was known to be a very popular singer, but later he converted to Islam. And today he is known to be Yusuf Islam. And this is one of the most famous songs written by him. And later, it was actually taken to one of the background songs of the Guardians of the Galaxy and one of the most popular songs actually sang by him. So which discusses about one of the major themes when it comes to English literature, that is generation gap, right? Generation gap. So even though it is like a conversation, actually it is not a conversation. The same person is singing the both parts and it seems like a conversation, but we can clearly understand that the same person is actually reflecting the two perspectives of the 2 people, the father and the son, right? So from father's perspective, he thinks that whatever the problems that occur to son is something natural and normal, and he himself, father himself, has faced all these problems when he was a young boy. He did not understand now the time has changed, and he tries to generalize this particular son, just like all the other boys of his same age. But when we go through his ideas, we can clearly understand that this particular boy is different, right? Even though he is reflecting the same age, he is a little bit different type of a character where he does not want to have a marriage, but father thinks that, okay, now your time is up. Now you can have, you can associate a girl. If you love her, you can marry her likewise. But when we read, we can clearly understand in the poem, this particular boy does not have that type of ambitions. He is actually having some kind of different idea about his life. But the problem is parents are not ready to listen, right? They always try to generalize their children. This kind of general problems can be seen in your generation. So this is not something new, something like that. But what we have to understand here is that each and every child, they have their unique abilities and their unique ambitions. So parents are not ready to listen to that. That is why this boy is actually so upset, because he always explains the fact that it has been the same old story, right? Whatever the idea that I am going to tell my father, he is under the impression that I am going to tell him the same old story. So without listening to my story, he tells me his advisors and whatever the precautions that he wanted to give. But first and foremost, the problem is no one is there to listen to me. That is his major problem, right? That is what he explains, right? So in this particular poem, that idea is there. So first and foremost, you have the writer and the poet. So I have given the poem Father and Son by Cat Stevens, right? So the second question is, who is he, right? So we have the question, who is I? I'm sorry, right? So all the time that I have tried keeping all the things I knew inside, it is hard, but it is harder to ignore it. So this clearly shows us I did not find a person to tell my problems. Can you understand? I did not have anyone to tell my problems. So as a result of that, generation gap occurred. Same thing happened in R.K. Narayan's Splendor of Sweets, right? So Mali did not tell anything to Jagan, right? As a result of that, a lot of problems occurred between father and son. So same incident happens here. Actually, the name of the poem also Father and Son. So you can understand the generation gap. So if you are going to study Father and Son as a poem, make sure to remember one of the most important themes that you have to remember is actually generation gap, right? So here we can clearly understand the suffocation of the boy, because no one is ready to listen to his story. Who is I, right? So here I have given the answer. I is son, that is answer number B, right? So then the third one, what is referred to as it, right? What is referred to as it? So here it refers to father's advice, getting away from the tradition, right? So father's advice, or else you can use the word getting away from the tradition. This is the problem with the father. Now, father is always under the impression that, okay, my boy is 16 years of age, 17 years of age. So father thought that, okay, my son has got the same problems all the other children of that age face. But this particular boy is different, right? What are the generalizations made by father? If you want to love, you can love. If you love that girl, you can marry her and you can settle down. But make sure to remember, each and every boy, each and every girl, they don't have to marry, or else they don't have the ambition to fulfill their life ambitions by having a marriage, right? That is not the only option that they have. Sometimes they may have certain ambitions that they have to achieve in their life. But unfortunately, this father did not understand that. He thought that just like him, his son will also have the same ambitions, will have the same targets. But this particular boy is different. But unfortunately, nobody is there to listen to his story. That is why he was totally upset. Nobody is there to listen to his story. That is why he's totally upset. Then the D part, right? We are moving to the A, B, C, D, right? D part, what was the question? Comment on the lyrical effect of these lines. What is the lyrical effect? Let's read the lyrical effect. You can start from here, the D part. All the things I knew inside implies his internal feelings, and they reflect and emphasize that though it is hard to make all the desires true, it is harder to ignore them. Two, which means that the tension in his mind. Exactly, right? So here it explains that all the things I knew inside implies his internal feelings, and they reflect and emphasize that though it is hard to make all the desires true, it is harder to ignore them too, which means the tension in his mind. So the boy wanted to see a different type of a dream, right? So boy's mindset is different, my dear students. He is reflecting a different type of a dream. But unfortunately, his father is not providing that support. Same thing happens to Mali as well. Same thing happens to Mali as well. So Mali wanted to become a, what do you call, a businessman. he wanted to start his own business, Mali Enterprises, but he did not get that support from his father, right? That is due to different reasons. Here also same thing happens, but this particular father is not like Jagannath. This particular father is different. Yeah, this particular father did not understand his boy is a unique person. He thought that whatever the ambitions, whatever the targets, whatever the desires that he had, he means father had when he was a boy, same desires, same ambitions, same targets can be seen from this boy as well. But he does not want to marry. He does not want to have a girlfriend. He has got some kind of different attitude or else ambitions in his life. But unfortunately, he could not explain them to his father because soon after he explained all these things, what will happen? His father will start the same old story. That is the problem. So it is very difficult for some parents to make realize that Mama, Dada, this is my dream. I am moving forward for this particular dream, right? But unfortunately, some parents will agree with that. Some parents won't. Some parents won't. So this particular father is someone like that. So the boy had a lot of desires, and he had to keep, or else he had to hide all these desires. But it is the more he hides his desires, it will grow up, right? It will grow up. That is what happens. So this is the idea given here. So even though he wanted to hide them, he cannot do that because they are real, genuine desires. Anytime these desires will come out, right? You cannot hide them. If you have a doctor inside, if you have a singer inside, if you have a lawyer, if you have an engineer, so even though you try to hide that, it will definitely come out because that is your desire, right? You cannot hide from you. You cannot hide from yourself, right? So that is your desire. So unfortunately, he is really unhappy because nobody is there in the house who can understand his desire, right? That is a problem, right? Because most of the parents, they motivate their children to do this thing and that thing. Most of the children, most of the parents, they try to achieve certain dreams through their children. Whatever the targets, whatever the achievements that they couldn't achieve when they were young, most of the parents, they try to do that from their children. If your father, if your mother fail to become a doctor, sometimes they may say you, okay, you have to do bioscience, you have to become a doctor and something like that. So we can see that tendency. His father is also someone like that. So he's trying to give some kind of generalized idea. This will happen to the, this is not your fault. This kind of radical decisions are not something uncommon. This is very common to each and every child. So for you is also the situation is very same. But when we read the ideas of the boy, we can clearly understand the boy has matured enough to understand the reality of life. What he wanted from his father is to listen to him. First and foremost, listen to me, then you can give my advice. But father is not ready to listen, right? Most of the parents, they are not ready to listen, right? They have not given that chance for their children to express themselves, right? They always try to humiliate them, or else they always try to guide them. But sometimes whatever things that they need is clearly understood by them when they come to certain age. Sometimes when it comes to your A-level subjects, or else what kind of degree that you are going to do, it is only known to you, right? It is very difficult for your parents to choose such thing. As parents, what they should do is that they should help you. That's it. That is the only thing that they can do, according to my opinion, right? So if you have any questions about this, you can ask. So the poem is Father and Son. I have explained you about the main theme, that is actually generation gap. And I explained about Cat Stevens as well. And the song is very popular when it comes to the popular movie Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it is second part, if I'm not mistaken, right? This song is used as one of the background songs. So one of the most popular songs written by Cat Stevens and sung by Cat Stevens, and later he converted to Islam as Yusuf Islam. Right, if you have any questions, make sure to ask. We discuss the first question. As you can see here, basically we have 4 parts to cover, A, B, C, D. So you have to write all the 4 parts, right? So you have to write all the 4 parts. Make sure to write short answers from 2 to 3 lines. That is more than enough. Don't go for lengthy answers because you don't have time to complete them. Don't write 7 lines, 8 lines, 9 lines. Then and there, just complete it. Only 2 to 3 lines are more than enough, right? Okay, so I hope that you guys have completed. let's go to the second question, right? Let's go to the second question. As you can see on the screen, the potter has drawn out the living breath of me and given me a form which is death of me, right? This is the question. This is the quotation that they have given to us. Now, based on this quotation, we have to identify what is the poem, who is the poet, name the work in which these lines appear, name the writer, whose life is mentioned here, whose life is mentioned here, name a technique in these lines. You can name any technique. There are a lot of techniques you can make, you can show, you can refer to any technique here, Puta, referring to these two lines. What attitude does the speaker have towards the form given to him? What kind of attitude does the speaker have towards the form given to him? Right? So basically we have 4 questions, right? So this particular poem is actually taken from Earthen Goblet by Harindranath Chattopadhyay. So Earthen Goblet is a very much important poem for you guys because it clearly shows how a natural life can be changed, can be warped, can be shaped from the outside factors, from the outside, how outside factors can affect for a particular life, for something natural, and how that natural object can be shaped. So that is the basic idea. Now, if you take Harindranath Chattopadhyay, he used to live in a rural village, and soon after his education for employment purposes, he went to Mumbai or else Bombay. Soon after he came to the urban lifestyle, he realized that what kind of freedom, what kind of entertainment, what kind of enjoyment that he had in that particular village. Those nostalgic memories actually came to him soon after he came to Mumbai, or else soon after he came to an urban city. He understood the value of pastoral life, right? So in that perspective, this poem is very important because according to him, he tries to explain the fact that when I was there inside the village, I was not that much shaped by money, not that much shaped by ambitions. But soon after I came to an urban life, what has happened? The society has shaped me into a new level. So most of the critics, they come with the idea that earthen goblet, the idea of goblet is represented from Harindranath's character, right? When Harindranath is in the village, he used to be the clump of clay, which provided good earth or else beneficial earth for that beautiful flower to bloom. But soon after Harindranath went to an urban city, what has happened? That clump of clay became a goblet, right? So people have given them some kind of a value, right? A price tag is added. But according to him, even though that goblet is very beautiful, even though people are ready to buy that, even though people are ready to put a price tag on that particular goblet, even though society has shaped his life, soon after he came to Mumbai, he is not happy. He is not self-satisfied with his life, right? That is why when the question is being raised from the goblet answers, I am not happy with my present form. So the same thing can be seen when it comes to Harindranath Chattopadhyay. He is not happy about the certain situations, certain incidents that occurred to him, and what kind of pressure, what kind of force enforced by the society in order to shape his life. So he is not happy about that. So a lot of critics have taken these two examples in order to show how Harindranath's life changed soon after he came to an urban city. So that idea is there. On the other hand, the other message in the poem, now Harindranath's message is something very much personal. On the other hand, we can see whenever you are going to change the natural setting of anything, it will be destroyed. The real value, the real beauty of such thing will be destroyed. That is the idea. So as a clump of clay, the clump of clay provided a lot of service to the world, to the nature. But soon after, potter took him onto the potter's wheel and made a beautiful goblet. From that moment onwards, the goblet personally believed that I have lost my value, right? But for people, they can give different types of price tags, right? A beautiful goblet, 2,500, 3,000, 5,000, something like that. But goblet is not satisfied. The goblet is not satisfied. This is what you have to understand, right? So let's go for the answers. Name the work in which these lines appear, name the writer. So these are the answers. I hope you guys can see the screen. The Earthen Goblet by Harindranath Chattopadhyaya. So this is the poem and he is the writer. So let's go to the second question. Whose life is mentioned here, right? Life of the goblet, life of the clump of clay, right? Both can be taken here because there is actually some kind of conversion, right? So the clump of clay and the goblet are actually in different forms, in different versions, but it is the same thing, right? It is the same thing, but they are in two different versions. So clump of clay is not happy about the modern form, right? That is the problem, right? Okay, let's go to the next question. Name a technique in these lines. So one of the major techniques that we can identify is personification. Entire poem is actually written based on personification because not only for the clump of clay, but also for the goblet, human attributes are actually applied. That is what we call personification. So personification can be taken as a very popular technique. On the other hand, if you see here, you can take rhyming as well, of me, right? So you can take rhyming. Popular rhyming can be seen here in the two lines, right? So that one can be also taken as one of the poetic techniques. You can take rhyming, rhyming words can be seen, right? So the potter has drawn out the living breath of me and given me a form which is the death of me, right? So here, potter is obviously human. On the other hand, here the clump of clay is being given human attributes. So that can be identified as personification. If you have any questions, please make sure to use the chat section and ask. Don't have any doubts in your mind because today we started a new paper. So you guys can cover the entire paper with all the target questions, with all the essay type questions, including Naval as well. Previously, in the last video log, we completed the paper. That is why I started a new paper today. I have sent you the paper to your WhatsApp group. If I am not mistaken, if you did not receive the paper, please make sure to send me a message. I will send you the paper. Name a technique in these lines. What attitude does the speaker have towards the form given to him? This is something very much important. The speaker is very much accusatory, critical, mocking, and teasing towards the form given to him, right? So the goblet is not happy about the form given to him. The goblet is not happy about the form given to him because the goblet believed that whatever the form that he remained as a clump of clay, it provided all the luxury and all the beneficial ground to that beautiful flower to bloom. And that beautiful flower which bloomed actually blossomed and gave its fragrance to the entire world. So being a clump of clay, it provided some kind of support, right? Being a clump of clay, it provided some kind of support, but now it has become a goblet. So it has a value still among people, but according to the goblet, according to the clump of clay, it tries to explain the fact that, but I believe there is some kind of emptiness in me, right? I believe some kind of emptiness in me now. Soon after Harindranath went to Mumbai, a lot of people knew him. He became an actor. He became a writer as well. So he earned a considerable amount of money. So he earned fame as well. And we should not forget that he is the brother of one of the most famous writers when it comes to English literature, Sarojini Naidu. He's a popular character. There is no doubt about that. But according to him, there is some kind of emptiness, right? Society can apply some kind of value to you. But if you think that, no, I am kind of an empty person, this is not the life that I have searched. But unfortunately, I have to be with this life, then there is a problem, right? Then there is a problem. So he is not happy about this lifestyle. This is something very much important. He is not happy, right? He is not happy about the lifestyle. But other people, especially the society, they are really happy about that. They are really happy about the Harindranath's change and what kind of service that he provides, right? They really enjoy. But Harindranath, he was not happy about his own life. He saw the emptiness in his life. Even though other people appreciated him, even though other people appreciated the goblet, very beautiful goblet, we can put plastic flowers into this goblet, we can put water, right? We can buy this goblet, but according to the goblet says, I'm going to give a service, there is no doubt about that, but I am pretty sure if I remained as a clump of clay, definitely I will provide more service to this world, right? I will provide more service to this world. So that is the idea given here. So whenever you are going to change the natural form of something, make sure to remember it will definitely destroy the beauty and the valuability of that particular object. That is the idea that we have to understand. I hope that you guys can understand. So we will move on to the next part. Okay, now we are coming to question number 3. Right. So this is something very simple. I hope that you guys have understood the quotation, and I think that you guys can understand the relevance of the quotation as well. For them, avoiding bullets, shells, mines, and grenades was imperative for survival. This was an experience that I could not relate to. Very popular quotation. If you read very carefully, you can very easily understand when it comes to bullets, shells, and mines and grenades. You can understand when we go through the 4 short stories. Basically, we have 2 prose passages. First one is Lahore Attack, and we have another prose passage actually taken originally from Sonali Dharamegala's Wave. So this is actually directly taken from Colin Cowdery lecture by Kumar Sangakkara, The Lahore Attack. Right? So very popular quotation. For them, avoiding bullets, shells, mines, and grenades was imperative for survival. This was an experience that I could not relate to. So here we have comparison. Here we have comparison. What is the technique, Puta? The technique is comparison. They have not asked that, but I'm going to explain you, right? So this is what we call comparison. What do you mean by comparison? Now we can understand. Sangha clearly explains, okay, even though I lived in Sri Lanka, I don't have similar experience, right? Even though I lived in Sri Lanka, I did not have similar experience. So this is what we call contrast, right? This can be identified as contrast. So Sangha is contrasting his life, right? His luxurious life is actually contrasted with the people who lived near the war zones, right? People who lived near war zones, right? So it's a very powerful comparison. Even though Sangha lived in Sri Lanka, right? Sangha did not face this kind of incident. Yeah, in the opening paragraph, he clearly explains that I played my cricket, my children went to school. Apart from these occasional bombs exploded in Colombo, I did not face terrorism. I was quite lucky enough to escape from terrorism. But soon after, right, I went to Pakistan tour, then only I realized, right, some of our fellow Sri Lankans, each and every day, they suffer from this situation. So it is a contrast. What do you mean by contrast? Sangha is not going to face that situation, right? But these people are going to face that situation at that time period. Each and every day, they face that situation. So this is a contrast, right? Very powerful contrast. Name the work in which these lines appear. Name the speaker. Who is I? Who are referred to as them? Why could not the speaker relate to such experience? What is the reason? Right? So let's try to identify the answers. I hope you guys have understood the idea. So when it comes to a quotation, my dear students, make sure to understand the relevance of the quotation. Sometimes in that particular quotation, you may have a theme. Sometimes they directly ask the theme. So you should be ready with that theme. And there can be a couple of narrative techniques or poetic techniques as well. So if it is a narration, definitely we will have narrative techniques. This can be identified as a very powerful contrast. Sangha did not enjoy, Sangha did not face terrorism. On the other hand, living in the same country, some people in Sri Lanka, each and every day, they face this situation in their entire life for more than 30 years. Right? So Sangha, at that moment only, Sangha realized that what kind of respect, what kind of awe, what kind of courage that they possessed as Sri Lankan citizens. They never gave up, right? Since because terrorists are attacking them, they did not give up their lands, right? They survived. So this is what Sangha explains. I hope you guys can understand. Let's go and check the answers, right? I'm moving for the answers. As you can see here on the screen, the Lahore Attack by Kumar Sangakkara, right? So you can take Colin Cowdery lecture as well. You can write that part, but Lahore Attack is more than enough. The narrator of Kumar Sangakkara, what was the question, right? Who is I? So I is referred to as Kumar Sangakkara, right? What is the next question? C part, who are referred to as them? Who are referred to as them? So who are referred to as them? Right? Victims of war, people in the war zone. Victims of war, people in the war zone who lived in Sri Lanka. Right? Soon after Sangha faced this incident in Pakistan, then only he realized, what some of our fellow Sri Lankans experience for more than 30 years every single day. Every single day. Right? Then only he realized that how lucky he was. Right? How lucky he was because of his talent, because of his luxurious lifestyle. He was able to detach from the war. But other people, they did not enjoy the same luxury. They did not enjoy the same luxury. Right? Okay, now the B part, let's go to the B part. Why couldn't the speaker relate to such experience? Why could not the speaker relate to such experience? Right? What I have given here. Because he is from Colombo, which is not a war zone. People outside the war zone face such experiences very rarely. That's what he says at the very beginning of the passage. I played my cricket. My children went to school. My life was relatively normal. I didn't have any problem. I knew at that time period this kind of terrorist attacks are happening, but I was lucky enough not to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That is what Sangha says, right? I was really lucky enough. Right? I was really lucky enough. But soon after I faced this incident in Lahore, then only I realized what kind of terror, what kind of doubtfulness is there when it comes to this kind of incidents, right? So he actually faced that intimidating incident, right? He actually faced the death. That is what we can understand. So we have completed 3 questions up to now. If you have any questions, my dear students, please make sure to ask. If you have any clarifications, make sure to ask, because this is your paper class. If you have any questions, it is your responsibility to ask, right? If you have anything, make sure to ask. That is very much important. So we started a new paper today. This is the 3rd question that we are discussing, right? If you have any questions, please make sure to ask. Right, I hope that you guys have completed. Do you have any questions? Anything? Any comments? Right? So you can add something. So can I write like this? Can I write like that? So if you have any comments like that, make sure to put your comments as well. Right. Shall we move on to the next part? Yehansa, did you write? Shall we move on? Make sure to have a printout, Puta, right? Make sure to get a printout, because today early in the morning, I sent you the paper. So you have enough time. You had enough time to take a printout. So make sure to take a printout and write the answers. You have to practice that. The more you practice, you will learn, right? So without any practice, you can't directly go to the exam and write the answers. That is not going to happen, especially when it comes to literature, right? So make sure to write the answers. When you write, you will improve. That is what I say, right? Sometimes some students, they have the mentality that on that day I will perform. I'm not going to perform each and every day. On that particular day, I will perform. To perform on that particular day, you should be ready. Can you understand? In order to ready, what you have to do, you have to write answers. So make sure to get the printout and write your answers and check whether your answers are correct with the teacher, right? That is important. Okay, so we will move on from there. If you have any questions, you can ask, my dear students. If you have any questions, make sure to ask. Right, so we will move on from there. I hope you guys can understand. We are coming to the next question. What a pity it is that do not mean anything or do any practical good. What a pity it is that they do not mean anything or do any practical good. Very popular quotation. What a pity it is that they do not mean anything or do any practical good. Name the work in which these lines appear. Name the writer. Whose idea is this? What is meant by they? What attitude does the speaker have towards life? Right? What a pity it is that they do not mean anything or do any practical good. Can somebody tell me what is the poem, or else what is the short story, or else what is the drama that this particular quotation appears? Anyone? You have any guess? Can you remember? What a pity, right? Very good. Nightingale and the Rose, right? Very good, Dizani. Thank you so much, right? Thank you so much. I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you so much, right? So let's go for the answers. The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. Young student's idea is given here, right? Name the work in which these lines appear. Name the writer, right? These work actually appear. Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. When it comes to Oscar Wilde, always make sure to remember about the Victorian era, right? Because in his stories, he always comments about the Victorian era, right? the problems related to the Victorian era, right? These things are very much important. He discusses about the education system, right? He discusses about the education system, right? And he discusses about the lifestyle of people, right? Lifestyle of people. He discusses about that, right? And he always tries to explain about his philosophy, which is known to be aestheticism, right? It is known to be aestheticism. These are 3 points that you have to remember when it comes to Oscar Wilde, right? All these points you have to remember about the Victorian era, and the Victorian era actually reflecting the utilitarian values, right? Utilitarian values, right? These words should be in your mind, right? Utilitarian values. So instead of utilitarian values, Oscar Wilde tries to explain the fact that more than utilitarianism, what is important? Aestheticism is important, right? More than utilitarianism, aestheticism is important. Education system, lifestyle of people, and the aestheticism. These are the 3 major things that he discusses when it comes to the Nightingale and the Rose. Okay, so I hope you guys can understand. Let's go to the other question. Other question means the next part. So, whose idea is this? Young student's idea. This is the idea of the young student, right? So, what is meant by they? What is meant by they? Arts, beautiful notes of the voice of Nightingale, right? So, the Nightingale tries to sing. When the Nightingale got to know that the boy is in upset mood, Nightingale had only one weapon. What was that weapon? The Nightingale can sing. So the Nightingale wanted to make the boy happy because the Nightingale is under the wrong impression that the boy is a true love. So the Nightingale sang, right? That was the only thing that it can do at that particular time. But the boy did not understand or appreciate the beauty of the song because of the problem related to education system. The education system has not taught the boy how to appreciate all these aesthetic values. Beauty of a song, beauty of a drama, beauty of a novel. He didn't know about that because he only learned about metaphysics and philosophy. He did not learn about arts. So according to him, right, this is the idea that he has got. According to him, what a pity it is that they do not mean anything or do not do any practical good. The boy is in completely utter ignorance because he believed that there is no point of learning about these literature, drama, music, and songs, or else we call aesthetic subjects. Why? Because according to him, they do not have any practical value. But make sure to understand, since because the boy did not understand these things, what happened? He did not know how to face practical problems that occurred in his life. When he did not find a red rose, instead of finding a red rose, he cried like a baby. Why is that? He did not understand the value of these practical subjects. Can you understand? He only learned about metaphysics and philosophy. In the book, Oscar Wilde openly says that he has only received bookish knowledge. You can read the short story again and you can find that word, bookish knowledge, right? The boy is always enhanced, or else he was always fulfilled himself with bookish knowledge. He did not know how to face real life problems, right? That knowledge will be given by aesthetic subjects like literature, music, drama, art, right? So they are the subjects which actually provide that practical importance. But unfortunately, the boy did not understand it. That is what we can understand, right? He has a fanciful, carefree, indifferent attitude, right? He has a fanciful. What attitude does the speaker have towards life? What kind of attitude that he had towards life? Until he meets the girl, until he meets professor's daughter, he had that kind of fancy life. He did not have any logical mindset because when he did not find a red rose, he cried. That is why, if you can remember, the daisy flower, the daisy flower and the lizard and the butterfly, they laughed at him. They laughed at him. Very cynical behavior. So the daisy flower, butterfly and the lizard, they symbolically suggest the Victorian society. When the boy is crying genuinely, only Nightingale appeared to help the boy, right? Daisy flower, butterfly, and lizard, they laughed at him because they knew that the boy does not know how to face practical problems, right? So that knowledge is not there in him due to the lack of education. The education system is actually criticized by Oscar Wilde in that type of situation. Can you understand? According to Oscar Wilde, what he tries to explain here is that education system has not created balanced individuals. They have only created robots. They have only created people who are eligible to do whatever the professions that they have created. They didn't have any mind to think and work. That logical mindset was not here. That was the argument. Can you understand? Very important. Right, okay. So I hope you guys can understand. If you have any questions, you guys can ask. Right, so we are in the fourth question. So if you have any questions related to this, you can ask. Right, any questions? Shall we move on to the next one? So not only the answers, I will give you a detailed description about the particular poem, short story, or the novel as well. That will be a great chance for you to revise all the poems that you have learned, right? Right, okay. So shall we move on? Right, okay. So we will move on to the next part. I hope that you guys have completed. So if you have any questions, my dear students, please make sure to ask without having any second thoughts. Anything that you need, you can ask, right? If you need anything, you can ask. I am going to give you a detailed description, not only the answers, because when it comes to a paper class, right, you have to remember everything about the particular poem, particular short story. Everything should be there in your mind. Okay, right. Let's go to the next one. We wrote about this. Right. You must allow me to call things by their real names. I am not a woman. You must allow me to call things by their real names. I am not a woman. From where are these lines taken? Who wrote them? Who says these words? Whom are they spoken to? What tone is shown in the utterance? Why is such a tone used? Right? Okay. So what is the quotation? You must allow me to call things by their real names. I am not a woman. I am not a woman. So he should be a man. Can you remember what is this particular short story or novel or a drama or poem? What is this? The Bear by Anton Chekhov. Very good. Yes, The Bear by Anton Chekhov. Very good. Right. So it is The Bear by Anton Chekhov. So when it comes to Anton Chekhov can be taken as one of the most prestigious writers when it comes to English literature because most of the plays written by him are actually depicting the reality of life, right? Most of the short stories even, right, tries to explain the slice of life. A slice of life is clearly depicted in his short stories, right? So, and they are very much psychological. They are very much psychological. Even if you take the drama The Bear by Anton Chekhov as a comedy, if you deeply analyze the drama, you will realize that Anton Chekhov is discussing about the reality of each and every man and woman, right? So he tries to explain about the deep psychological behavior, deep psychological desires of each and every man and woman, Can you understand? We normally take this as a drama. There are a lot of humor is there. They are laughing at each other. They are mocking each other. Likewise. But if you read them very carefully with a deep analysis, psychologically, you will understand that this is the reality to each and every human being. If you are a woman, this is the way that you behave due to jealousy. If you are a man, this is the way that you behave due to jealousy, right? So they are actually same, what you call, different sides of the same coin. If you take Popova and Smirnov, gender-wise they are different, right? Gender-wise they are different, but they are the chips of the same block, right? They are the chips of the same block, right? So even though gender-wise they are different, their characteristics, their behavior patterns are very much similar. Their characteristics, their behavior patterns are very much similar. We cannot see any difference in them, right? Okay. So from where are these slides taken? Who wrote them? So we have the answer here, the Bear by Anton Chekhov. So here, who says these words? These words are said by Smirnov, right? He said to these words to Popova, what tone is shown in the utterance? Why is such a tone is used? Ridiculous, annoyed, indignant, disrespectful, and aggressive tone because he is angry. He wants to demand money, right? So when Popova is continuously disagreeing to the idea that I'm really sorry, I can't give you money today. I will give it tomorrow because my manager is out of the country. When she continuously explained that fact, he was not happy, right? He was totally upset. That is why he clearly humiliated, insulted Popova by looking at her outer appearance, right? So Popova also got mad, and she also started to humiliate this person using the word bear, and also he was totally upset with that. So that is how actually the drama has got that particular name, the bear, the vulgar animal, right? So each and every one of us has got a bear, the vulgar animal. We are not ready to put that vulgar animal outside because the society will not allow us to live. We all have a bear inside, right? We all have a bear inside, but we don't like to put that bear outside because the entire society will not let us to live. So we have actually kept that inside. That is the message actually given by Anton Chekhov. And don't forget, each and every human being, inside each and every human being, we have a Popova, we have a Smirnov, right? Some characteristics of Popova can be seen in most of the women. Some characteristics of Smirnov can be seen in most of the men. That is the reality. That is why we call that this drama is very much psychological, right? Can you remember both of them suffocated from love? If you go through Popova's character, she suffocated from love. Where she openly explains the fact that after my husband's death, I found a drawer full of love letters, right? Written by my husband to the other women. On the other hand, right, Smirnov says, I have associated, I have refused 9 women. I have refused 11 women and 9 women have refused me. I have refused 11 women and 9 women have refused me. Altogether 21 women. So he associated 21 women. But he has not found a genuine woman to love. He has not found a genuine woman to love. So both suffocated from love. Can you understand? They are very similar. Both characters are very similar. Gender-wise, they are different. So that is the idea Anton Chekhov tries to explain. Even though gender-wise we are different, make sure to remember we all have similar characteristics, right? They both are romantic. They both are romantic. At the end of the drama, you can remember Popova is actually saying that don't go. Where are you going? Why are you coming back? Please go. So dual mindset. She does not want to send him. At the same time, she does not want to keep him as well. This is the real psychology, right? This is the real psychology. Sometimes we show a lot of aggression. Sometimes we show a lot of rejection for the things that we love the most. The things that we love the most, we show a lot of aggression, a lot of rejection. If a person is rejecting you, right, continuously, make sure to remember that is the first level of acceptance. That is the first level of acceptance. If that particular person is rejecting you continuously, that is the first level of acceptance. That is psychology, right? Can you remember how Popova behaved? But at the end of the day, they kissed each other. Can you understand? that is very deep psychological analysis. Very deep psychological analysis. Right? That is why I say that. But unfortunately, most of the students, they read the drama very in a surface level and they explain that, okay, this is a comic drama, we can get some kind of comedy here. But it's a very powerful psychological drama. More than Twilight of a Crane, Bear is a very much powerful psychological drama. We don't discuss that level with you guys. We just explain you this is a comic drama. Most of the characters are comical and likewise. But if you read the drama very carefully, my dear students, you will understand there is a very deep psychological analysis, right? So this is what you have to understand. These points you have to remember, right? Okay, so I have given you a lot of words regarding the tone: ridiculous, annoyed, indignant, disrespectful, and aggressive, right? So any of these answers can be used, right? So if you have finished, please pass me a message, then we will move to the next one. So this is actually from Bear by Anton Chekhov, and he always represented the social values of the contemporary Russian society. Most of the time, if you go through most of the short stories and dramas written by Anton Chekhov, he always tries to explain the reality. He did not have any hyperbole, exaggeration. Whereas if you take Lumber Room, you have a lot of exaggerations, right? Right? They are most of the characters. If you take what do you call Nicholas's character, he does not have any flaws. That type of characters, we can't find in this world, right? People have some mistakes, right? So that type of characters cannot be found when it comes to Anton Chekhov, because he openly explains the deepest secrets of human beings, right? The deepest corners of our heart will be open, will be revealed by Anton Chekhov. That type of writer. Even William Shakespeare does the same thing. Even William Shakespeare does the same thing. The darkest, deepest corners will be open. The darkest, deepest corners of our heart will be open. Sometimes we don't want them to open, but Anton Chekhov will open, right? And he will try to explain, this is what happens. This is the reality of life. Make sure to face them. You don't have to hide them. Make sure to face them. Even though Popova said that I don't want to associate any man, inside her heart, her desire is to have another man. Even though Popova said that I don't like your behavior, you are a bear, she needed that bear. That vulgarness is enjoyed by her. That vulgarness is enjoyed by her. Can you understand, right? Deepest corners, right? There are certain things that we enjoy in our life, but we can't tell, right? Because of the social pressure. Try to understand. That is why we need literature, right? So certain things that you can't tell, certain things that words are not enough, you can use literature, right? So this is the reality. That is what we call that psychological analysis can be done, right? Okay. I hope that you guys can understand. We will move on to the next part. Right. Good gracious, you have also begun to speak their language, the words which I can't understand. Good gracious, you have also begun to speak their language, the words which I can't understand. Name the work in which these lines appear, name the writer. Who utters these words, whose language is referred to as their language, why is the speaker so excited, right? This was the question. So let's try to write the answers. Right, so we will move on from there. Okay, so name the work in which these lines appear, name the writer. Who utters these words, whose language is referred to as their language, why is the speaker is so excited. So this is the second drama that we have in the syllabus. Basically, we have two dramas. One is a comedy, one is a tragedy. This cannot be taken as the kind of category of tragedies. If you take Shakespearean tragedies and all, this is actually a bullshit. But since because the ending is little bit sad, let's call it a tragedy, right? But most of the elements that we can find in a tragedy cannot be seen in this particular drama. This is a Japanese drama by Yuzuwa Junji Kinoshita. But it also explains about the certain values that we try to explain in the society where everything cannot be gained by money. Don't put a price tag to each and everything. Sometimes money can be a corrupting agent. Likewise, certain ideas are also can be seen here, right? So we will discuss about that. Twilight of a Crane by Yuzuwa Junji Kinoshita, right? Japanese writer. And he wrote this particular drama during the Second World War. They are at that time actually Japan. Most of the people who lived in Japan, they were mentally fallen and they didn't have any hopes at all. So they had some kind of selfish attitudes. They wanted to earn money because they wanted to rise up again, right? So because of the political problems and the war, they were mentally fallen. So that selfishness, that rude behavior of these Japanese people can be seen from this particular drama if you go through the characters of Sodo and Unzu, right? And the deep desire that they had in order to accumulate finance can be also seen as one of the techniques used by him, right? Okay, then this is actually said by Zhu, right? Because Zhu is so much unhappy because she thought that apart from other people, Yohio is a different kind of a person who does not like to have a lot of money, who is in need of love, because the act done by Yohio by helping a crane who has injured actually created some kind of powerful image or else positive image inside Zhu's mind. That is why Zhu decided to help this particular person. They had a very enjoyable time period with a lot of mutual understanding as husband and wife. But unfortunately, Sodo and Unsu actually germinated Yohio into the concept of money. As a result of that, he lost everything, right? So the idea behind the drama is that once money is centered somewhere, all the valuable, all the sacred things will be vanished. That is the basic idea that you have to understand. Whenever there is money, no sacred things cannot be survived, right? So you can see my love is sacred, my love is immaculate. You can talk like that. But when there is money, nothing is immaculate. Nothing is permanent. Everything will be vanished, right? So money can be identified as a very powerful corrupting agent throughout the drama. Throughout the drama, make sure to remember that. So Sue cannot understand the difference of this particular person, how this particular person changed. That is actually clearly showed by the language. We have military language, we have romantic language, we have abusive language, we have different types of language styles in this particular drama if you go through very carefully. Right, okay. So whose language is referred as their language? Why is the speaker so excited? Let's discuss the answers. Twilight of a Crane by Yusua Junji Kinoshita. Zoo is actually represented here. Unsu and Sodo's language, commercial language, right? So we have different types of language. Go through the drama. We have different types of language. We have commercial language, right? We have commercial language. We have romantic language, right? We have romantic language. We have abusive language, right? We have abusive language. So different types of language can be seen throughout the drama. Different types of language can be seen throughout the drama. Now, at the very beginning, we can see romantic language, right? After meeting Sodo and Unsu, right? So Yohio is practicing commercial language, right? Commercial language. And then after germination, what will happen, right? Yohio is using abusive language. Yohio is using abusive language. So different types of language can be seen in the drama. Different types of language can be seen in the drama. She gets excited because she thinks that it is a conspiracy of Unsu and Sodo. She correctly understood after meeting these two mercenary businessmen only, Yohio changed, right? She understood that. This is what we discussed, right? So if you have finished, please pass me a message. We have discussed 6 questions, 6 context questions, not only the answers, but I gave you simple analysis, simple but informative analysis about each and every line that you have to remember, right? Right, okay. If you have any questions, you can ask. Now we are moving to the novel. Right, we are moving to the novel. The rest Jagan did not hear. He lost interest in the tall girl who was only a sort of advance guard of her younger sister, who came with downcast eyes and bowed head and moved across the arena so fast that Jagan could not take in any detail. Not short, nor tall, not fat, nor puny. Jagan could not arrange her in any clear outline. The details overlapped, but producing only impressions of an agreeable nature and not provoking aversion as on the previous occasions. How is she to know what I look like if she flits by so fast? Jagan speculated. I don't care what my brother is going to say later. For the present, I am going to stare, gaze, and study. I don't care what anybody thinks. He stared unwinkingly at the girl. She had a thick wad of wavy hair, plated and decorated flowers, and many pieces of jewelry. Now, this actually appears in chapter number 12. Now, these days we are discussing, I think, chapter number 7, if I'm not mistaken. 7, yes. So, this appears in chapter number 12. This clearly shows us the marriage took place between Jagannath and Ambika. Jagan went to Ambika's house with his elder brother. At that time, there was certain protocol put by Jagan's elder brother saying that once you go there, don't stare at the girl, right? So just look at her. Don't show off attentive intention towards her. Otherwise, she will think that you are into her and you will definitely marry her. But soon after, Jagan saw Ambika, he could not control himself. That is what happened here, right? He could not control himself and he looked at Ambika without thinking about the protocol put by his brother. That is what he explained here, right? Doesn't matter. My brother is going to say later, for the present, I'm going to stare, gaze, and study her. I don't care what anybody thinks. So his brother said to him, don't stare at the girl. Don't look at the girl as you have never seen a girl in your entire life. Don't do like that, right? So this is where we can understand the protocol, the traditional protocol, when it comes to traditional societies, when it comes to Asian countries. Even the bride or else the bridegroom, they were not ready to look at themselves before the marriage. This is important. On the other hand, if you refer to the modern culture, we can clearly take the examples of Mali and Grace, where before having the marriage, they had their relationship and they were living together. Can you understand the difference? Can you understand the difference? This is the difference that you have to follow, right? Very important. This is the difference that you have to follow. So this particular passage is in chapter number 12. This clearly explains us about the situation which actually occurred and what kind of protocol that these people maintained for a long period of time in the Indian society, and still they maintain, even though globalization and even though they have received their independence, that traditional conventional protocols, they really appreciate that and they really continue, right? So from this particular paragraph, we can understand the conventional traditional attitude that most of the people had when it comes to these customs and traditions of marriages, right? So what are the good questions, right? Whose thoughts are expressed in this passage? Who is referred to as she? So here Jagan's thoughts are expressed here. She is referred to as Ambika. She is referred to as Ambika. What prompted these thoughts in the speaker? Jagan had a great desire to see Ambika, but he had to follow strict rules and guidelines of his elder brother. So his elder brother said to him that, no, cannot look at her directly. You cannot do that. You cannot do that, right? You cannot stare at her. If you do like that, what will happen? That particular girl will think that, okay, you are mesmerized by her, hypnotized by her, so you will marry her. That's not going to happen, right? We have to take the dowry and we have to check whether she is good or bad, whether parents can afford that amount. You have to check everything. But unfortunately, Jagan could not control himself. Jagan could not control himself because Ambika was a real beauty. Ambika was a real beauty. So Jagan could not control himself. And Jagan has only seen Ambika from a photograph. So can you understand the difference between the traditional culture and modern culture, where Mali associated Grace, right? And they had sexual relationship as well without having the marriage. So you can clearly understand the overlap between the modern marriage system and the traditional marriage system. This is something very much important. This is what you have to pay your attention. Write the meaning of the following words in your own words. Now, in this type of situations, definitely you will get two words like this, even from bringing Tony home as well. What I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes you may not know the exact meaning, but read very carefully, then you can infer the meaning. Even though you don't know, you can refer to this may be the meaning according to the passage. Can you understand? Don't write the exact words that can be seen, that can be referred to from the dictionary. We don't expect like that. When you read the paragraph, you will feel that this may be the meaning, right? This may be the meaning according to the context, so you can use it. Don't get misunderstood, right? So no student is perfect when it comes to their vocabulary. There are some students who can directly write, this is the word, this is a noun, this is an adjective, likewise. But sometimes it may be difficult. So why we have given these two words, not to check that whether you know the exact dictionary meaning or else thesaurus or whatever. Just write the idea, this may be the meaning. This may be the meaning, right? Maybe, right? This may be the meaning. So I think according to the paragraph, according to the context, this may be the meaning. That was the idea. Can you understand? Right, okay. So here that is important. And what is the theme that is reflected through the incident? This is very much important. What is the theme? The theme of tradition and marriage is reflected from the above quotation, which was followed not only by Jagan, but also Ambika, right? So obviously, as a traditional girl, Ambika had to follow that. There is no doubt about that because it is a male-dominated society. But the fact is, even Jagan had to follow that. Even Jagan had to follow that, right? Jagan's elder brother put the protocol before coming to the house, saying that you should not look at the girl, you should not stare at her, right? But soon after Jagan saw the girl, he couldn't control himself. That is what happened, right? So emotions cannot be controlled like that, right? So that is what happened here. That is why he openly argues the fact that doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter what my brother says, I will definitely stare at her because she is such a pretty lady, right? So the conflict between emotions and the tradition, right? So the tradition always tries to control the emotions. Yes or no? That's what happens, right? So try to control the emotions. But when it comes to emotions, it's very difficult to control, right? So you can control them not by tradition, actually, by using literature, by using aestheticism, as Oscar Wilde says, right? So in that perspective, we can do that. But that is the problem. That is one of the major themes, actually, the traditional and the modern conflict at the same time, that the idea of marriage and living together, right? So living together is reflected by using Grace and Mali. On the other hand, Jagan and Ambika, they represented the traditional Indian marriage, traditional Indian culture. If you read the 12th chapter, the entire 12th chapter clearly explains from Ambika's marriage to Mali's birth. From Ambika's marriage to Mali's birth will be explained there. Right. So if you have finished, pass me a message. Hurry up. Right, okay. So if you have any questions up to this particular point, you guys can ask, right? So we have discussed the entire first paper. Now we are moving to the second page. If you have any questions, any doubts, please make sure to ask because that is important. Whatever the problems that you have, you can ask. I will help you. Any questions? Anything? Right. Okay, so we will move on. Poetry. Now we are coming to the poetry. We are going to start with an easy one, actually. Not that much difficult. Discuss how Tennyson celebrates glory and grandeur of nature in the eagle. Discuss how Tennyson celebrates glory and grandeur of nature in the eagle. Right? Discuss how Tennyson celebrates glory and grandeur of nature in the eagle. So the first question from poetry. So when it comes to eagle, what are the basic things that you have to remember? Here is that about Alfred Lord Tennyson, who belongs to the Romantic era. And the eagle is actually a poem with a lot of ambiguity. What do you mean by ambiguity? There can be a lot of different interpretations. Lot of different interpretations, different levels. You can refer to the poem, even though the poem is small, you can refer to different levels. The poem can be read from different levels. That is why this poem is so much special, right? The poem can be referred to in different levels. So that is why the poem is special, right? So what are the most two important words that we can refer to here? Grandeur and glory, right? The grandeur and glory. These are the two words that you have to be aware. Right. First starts with explanation, right? Okay. So this is the explanation, or else we call that opening paragraph. The Eagle is a poem written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. He is one of the most popular Victorian poets. The Eagle is one of the Tennyson's shortest poems. It is composed of only two stanzas with 3 lines each. However, it is full of figurative language and deeper meaning. There are a number of techniques utilized by the poet in order to create the majestic image of the bird. The bird is a creation of nature. The grandeur and glory of the nature is represented through the bird by the poet quite admirably, right? So don't forget the two words, right? What are the two words that we have to follow actually? Number one, grandeur. Grandeur means power actually, and the glory, right? So we have to refer to that to the word called nature, right? So we have to show that by referring to eagle, poet is trying to explain about the nature. Obviously, the eagle is a creation of nature. So the eagle belongs to nature. So if you explain about eagle, which means you are explaining about the nature. That's it. Because nature, eagle is actually creation of nature. Simple as that. So whatever the explanations that you are going to give to the eagle is actually the explanations, or else you are going to discuss about the admirable quality of the nature, right? Nature, the creation, the creator actually, right? Okay, so hurry up and write down. Please pass me a message if you have finished. Right, okay, I hope that you guys have completed, right? Okay. So what about the others? Did they complete? Right. We will move on to the next part. We will start with the first line. He clasped the crack with crooked hands. To start with, the poem opens with a personal pronoun, which is used to replace a human name. Thus, human characteristics are attributed to the raptor. Some critics refer to this as anthropomorphism, right? Anthropomorphism refers to bird behaves like a human, right? So some people don't agree to say this is personification. In most of the schools, they teach this as personification, but some people, they used to call this particular technique as anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism refers to a bird behaves like a human, right? So that can be given a different technique, anthropomorphism, right? But in our most of the schools, they teach you personification, but both are same, right? Through this personification, the poet has given glory and life to nature. Glory and life, right? Nature is something inanimate, but the bird is actually animate. So comparing the bird to the nature, right? The glory and life is given to the nature. Not only that, but he has also attributed masculine power to nature as well. And this will develop the grandeur of nature, right? More than feminine power, masculine power, physical power is greater, right? So as a result of that, the grandeur and glory is actually applied in two different ways. Number one, by attributing anthropomorphism or else personification. On the other hand, life is given to nature here, and the grandeur is actually presented by using personal pronoun. Right. So we are going to wind up from there. You can write down this and you can leave the meeting. So all the other classes will be conducted according to the usual timetable. You can participate for the classes. Last week we completed in the revision class to the night by John Keats. 2 videos I completed. Even though I did not do the class, I sent you the video. And then next week we are going to start The Breakfast by Jacques Prévert, one of the difficult poems that you have in the syllabus. Till then, we will meet next week. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Good night.